Hare Krishna. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam discussions, and let us continue. So first we will start with Mangalacharan. So I will share the screen here. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Kadamai Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। We will now recite the invocation verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. If possible, some of you can kind of call response. So that would be nice. So first, our humble pranam to Sri Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. This is Shukratal. We will go there in the yatra. Some of you are here who are coming to the yatra in September with Romapad Maharaj. So very wonderful occasion to visit this place called Shukratal, where this Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. And then this is our pranam to Sri Suta Goswami and Shaunakadi Rishis. This was the retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam by Sri Suta Goswami in Naimisharanya. So this was the second retelling. Okay, kindly, respond by repeating if possible. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswati Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayet.
Tato Jayamudire.
Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavate Uttamam Shloke.
Tirbhavati Naishthiki.
Bhakti Naishtiki.
Naya Vasudevaya.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya Cha.
Devaki Nandanaya Cha.
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya.
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna. So Mhm. Okay. Okay. So we will continue from verse number 12. So yesterday we had the first part of this discussion where we covered the first 11 verses. And we discussed sort of a little bit of a, not a little bit, quite a bit of a background of this whole episode of Kurukshetra. So if you were not present yesterday, then I would highly recommend you review that or watch that recording, which covers a sort of a very important background about the this whole episode. So now I will share my screen of the iPad here, where we will discuss. Okay. Is the iPad screen visible?
Ji Prabhu.
Oh, all right. Okay. Okay. So we covered first 11 verses. We covered some background. And what happened so far is that other than the background where we discussed this whole significance of the meeting of Lord Sri Krishna with the Vraja Vaasis in Kurukshetra, the main focus of yesterday's discussion was first to describe the significance of Kurukshetra before. So this whole episode occurred much before the Mahabharat war. And Kurukshetra was the place where yeah, the other name is Semanta Panchaka. So we discussed that there were these 5 lakes that were formed out of the blood of the Kshatriyas killed by Lord Parshuram, and then he performed atonement, and how those lakes became a place where if you bathe in those, then you would that's a very good place to atone for your sinful actions. So all those things we discussed, and then we discussed the sort of the dazzling arrival of Lord Sri Krishna along with his whole entourage of Vrishnis or Yadus from Dwarka into Kurukshetra. So it's a very dazzling, very beautiful sort of arrival into Kurukshetra. And we also discussed that a couple of reasons that why such a dazzling entry is mentioned, because first, of course, he's Lord Krishna and the king of Dwarka, also to show sort of the contrast between that kind of very opulent scenery or scene of entry of Lord Sri Krishna, and then a very sort of a humble setting, a very modest setting when the Vraja Vaasis arrive. And you will see that contrast. And so that's the whole point of that was the point of that, and also to show the greatness or the opulence of Lord Sri Krishna. We will see some of that today as well. So let's see how much progress we can make today. Yeah. So, okay. Now, I hope you can see the screen. So this text number 12 and 13, they are given together, and they are extremely important. At least from the commentaries standpoint, they bring out a lot of significance. So we will see that shortly.
Prabhuji, screen sharing is lost.
Screen sharing is lost. Okay.
I can see it, Prabhu.
We can see Prabhuji.
You can see.
Uh,
Sri Murari Prabhu, maybe you want to log out and log back in.
Sure, Prabhuji. I will do that.
Usually solves the problem. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to then disturb anything at my end. Okay. So here in Lord Krishna has arrived, and many other parties we will see have or will arrive or are arriving, have arrived into Kurukshetra. And the Yadus, so the Yadus or the Yadavas or everybody that has come from Dwarka are sort of the main focus of the initial part of the chapter, even though the emperor is Dhritarashtra and the Kurus are the emperor, and they are sort of the supreme sort of leader, but they also are subservient to Lord Sri Krishna. So they understand the supremacy of Krishna. So politically, even though they may be the biggest and the most powerful, but from a hierarchical position and from a position of understanding the greatness, the Yadus are the greatest, because they are also accepting the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna, even Dhritarashtra. We will see that shortly. So the point is, the focus are the Yadus. And we will see how they welcome everyone, how they meet everyone. Okay, so with that background, let us start with 12 and 13. Okay, so this is also 12 and 13 are also in Anushtup meter, which is all 8 syllables per line. And the next verse will be a change in the meter, and which also indicates a change in bhava. So we will see that. That's the whole point we are trying to bring out here. Tatra agatamste dadrishu suhrit sambandhino nripan matsya ushinara kaushalya vidarbha kuru sanjayan kamaboj kaikanyan madran kuntin anartakeralan Anyamsha chaiva atma pakshiyan paramsha cha shatasho nripa nandadin suhrido gopan gopisha cha utkanthatashchiram. So this is the 12th verse. This also has, like last time, 4 lines, and the 13th verse has 6 lines. So that's the demarcation of 12 and 13. So those were the verses. So the Yadus have arrived, and on arriving, what did Tatra Agatams? On arriving there, Te, the Drishu, Te means the Yadus is referring to Te. What did they see? Drishu, what did they see? Tatra Agatams. Upon arriving there, what did they see? What they saw, Suhritas, Sambandhino, and Ripan. So they saw 3 categories, or 3 things I mentioned. Suhrid means they're very dear, Suhrid, very dear to their heart. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. So that I am the very dear to all living entities, or I'm the well-wisher. But Suhrida means very dear. We will see who is this. Okay. Sambandhino means their relatives, or their, sambandhis. And Nripan means the various other kings who had, Nripa means king. So the various kings who had arrived. So this is significant. And so, who are the Suhrida? And when it is being mentioned, the Yadus, in your mind, who is the number 1 Yadu?
Sri Krishna.
Sri Krishna. Perfect. Now, hierarchy-wise, there are 2 Yadus. Who are the 2 senior-most Yadus? This is little significant. That's why I'm just making you think. Seniority-wise, who are the 2 who have come from Dwarka? So they are Ugrasena and Vasudeva. Okay, that's kind of obvious, right? So Vasudeva ji, who is the father of Sri Krishna, and Ugrasen, he is the king, or not the king, but he was the king of Mathura. So he is sort of the father figure. And so these are the two seniority wise. But the king of Dwarka and the primary Yadu is Lord Sri Krishna. So keeping that in mind, Suhrid, we will see who is Suhrid, and it's not very hard to guess. So when we are speaking from the Yadu standpoint, always think Krishna. All the other Yadus, that's fine. They are there in the background. But the primary focus is Sri Krishna. So who is the dearmost to Krishna? When they say that they saw all these people had arrived. And yesterday we discussed the first ones to arrive were Vraja Vaasis, right? Because they want to see Krishna as soon as he came, and you don't know when he will come. So it's like, I don't know, if you have your favorite movie, you have been waiting for it for 2 months, and the first show is happening, you go and stand in the line like 10 hours before to get the first ticket, isn't it? In front of the ticket window. I don't know, like latest iPhone, you people stand in the line like from overnight, or in whatever, so they were the first out there to in Kurukshetra, because as soon as Krishna arrives, they wanted to see him. So who did Krishna see, who he calls as Suhrid? They will be none other than the Vraja Vaasis. So they are being referred to here as Suhrid, Vraja Vaasis. Okay. The relatives are all of the Kurus, which includes the Kauravas, Pandavas. As you know, Lord Krishna is related to Mother Kunti. And so they are the relatives. And Ripan are the other kings. So this is also important. We will see that here. This Suhrida is coming here, and there is a strong connection to be drawn from this Suhrida in this second last line over here, and this Suhrid in this second line. Now, who are the various kings? Now, these are the various kings: Matsya, Ushinara, Kaushalyas, Vidarbhas, Vidarbha, Kuru, and Srinjaya, the Srinjayas. So these are the various parties that have arrived. Now, Kurus are relatives, but these are the other parties that have arrived. So they are being named here. More parties are being named: Kambojas, Kaikayas, Madras, and Kuntis. Now, this is not Mother Kunti, but there is a whole party called the Kuntis. Then Anantas and Keralas. All these are various parties that have arrived. And others too. So Anyams means others. Sorry, let me change this. Yeah. Anya, others. And Cha, Atma Pakshyan. Atma Pakshyan means on my side. Paksh means side. So Atma Paksh means favorable. And Paramscha. Paramscha means even not so favorable. So some unfavorable parties also arrived. Okay. So it's also important to understand that so many parties arrived. And Shatasho. Shatasho means by the hundreds. Hundreds of people were there in each party, and hundreds of parties arrived in Kurukshetra because of the eclipse. Seemingly because of the eclipse. Okay. Let me rub that. So Shatasha. Please pay careful attention here. Okay. Paramscha Shatasha. And then there is Om Ripa. Om Ripa. Okay. This Om Ripa is Sukadeva Goswami addressing who? He is addressing Parikshit Maharaj. O king. Now, who describes? Let me see. Sri Jiva Goswami says this. So very, very, this is where the bhava comes in. That as soon as Jiva Goswami says, as soon as Parikshit Maharaj is going to describe the next party, and you can see who is the next party here. Nanda Adi, so Nanda Maharaj, the Gopas, and finally the gopis. Sukadeva Goswami goes into a mode of ecstasy. And this own Ripa is like, oh, a different emotion has taken over him. He's like, oh, or something like, he cannot, his whole mood changes at this point. As soon as he names this party that has come from Vṛndāvana. So there is a very strong significance of this aspect. And this suhrida. So here you see the word suhrida. This is the party which is called suhrida by Sukadeva Goswami. This is the party that was closest to the heart of Sri Krishna. Everybody else is relatives and, janne pehchanne wale, all the, what do you say, familiar or whatever, acquaintances and so on. And it is also said that now, why are all these people coming to Kurukshetra? Come on, I need some response from someone.
Because there was the eclipse, so they wanted to, for like pious
Credits, all those things, correct? Does Sri Krishna need pious credits?
No.
No. So why has Sri Krishna come?
To meet the Vraja Vaasis.
Yes, to meet the Vraja Vaasis. And why have the Vraja Vaasis come?
Meet Krishna.
Do they care about any pious credits?
No.
Pious credits is the last thing they care about. So they care about Sri Krishna. So these are the two parties who care completely about each other. And that is the reason why they have come to Kurukshetra. And that is what is mentioned here. And on thinking of this whole aspect, Sukadeva Goswami goes into an ecstasy. And that is the significance of Om Ripa. And another thing is, and that is why he mentioned Suhrida over here. This is the party that is Suhrida. This is the reason why Krishna came. Otherwise, he could have easily stayed back in Dwarka and sent everybody else. Okay, you all go and get your pious credits and your sinful reactions or whatever you can, because of the eclipse, you go and do all those things. I don't need to go. And then gopis cha utkanthitas chiram. Utkanthitas. So in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, we have discussed, remember? Samutkantha.
Yes.
So what is Sam Utkantha? Utkantha. Utkantha means what? We discussed this in detail.
Raised neck, expectation.
Raised neck. What does raised neck mean?
Like you're longing to see somebody.
Longing to see, like this. Remember that picture with the head raised, you're waiting for somebody, when they will come. So this is the gopis who were chiram. Chiram means from a very long time. They have been waiting to see Krishna. And they had arrived first along with the Vraja Vaasis. All the Vraja Vaasis arrived. But these gopis were always just waiting to see when will Krishna come, when will Krishna come. So like that, they are waiting to see Sri Krishna. With a utkantha, with a raised neck, trying to see on the horizon, when the dust of the chariots will arise and then the chariot will come. Just remember the scene when the chariot was going away from Vṛndāvana. Akrurji was taking away. The last thing that they saw was the dust of the chariot. And it vanished or it disappeared. So they are looking now for that same dust and then the chariot to come. And yesterday we had discussed in the class how dazzling entry was made by Sri Krishna with, like aeroplanes. The chariots were like aeroplanes and all those things we had discussed. So that is the sort of the mood of this verse. So the first, 60% or 80% of the verse was just, okay, so-and-so arrived, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. The last two lines has the punch. that finally also these Vraja Vaasis were also there, and the Yadus saw them. Let's see, what are some of the other points to be discussed here? So, yes, another point. Now there is this whole sort of, so this chapter is all about the bhava. And it's very nice that we are discussing this chapter after we have studied the Eastern division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Another point to understand is, why are they mentioned last or at the end? Okay, so any guesses? Why are the Vraja Vaasis mentioned at the end?
It's like the best is kept for last, that kind of a thing.
Okay, best, keep the best for the last. That's one way to think about it. Anything else?
In a negative connotation, it feels like more of a favoritism to Krishna's close associates.
So, but then they should come first, no?
Exactly. But that's why, yeah, I mean, that's right. But if we see in whoever is written, I'm just trying to think straight. Maybe because
It's like the cherry on the cake.
So that's what you all are saying. I think it's the same thing. Save the best for the last.
Yeah.
Right?
They were also not very commonly seen in amongst the kings and all of the people who were mentioned before.
Yeah.
So
So
all the people were already gone, but only the Vraja Vaasis were left.
yeah. So
Can,
they were already gone where?
can I take a stab?
Sure.
I think if you look at the second line, first word, suhrt, that refers to Vraja Vaasis. And then in the end, they're talking again about the Vraja Vaasis. So that's really providing the enveloping on both sides of Vraja Vaasis being important. And then in the end, maybe it is saying that because it wants to start the 14th verse talking about Vraja Vaasis. I'm just guessing. I don't know what the 14th verse says.
Okay. Okay. So again, same thing or similar thing that, enveloping it, starting with the Suhrita and ending with Suhrit. So yes, all these are fine points. Now, Sri Sanatan Goswami mentions this point in his Brihad Vaishnava Toshani Tika. And, these tikas are as good as Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. These acharyas have, like we were discussing yesterday, have gone into their samadhi, into their deep trance meditation, and seen these pastimes, and not only seen the pastimes, they can also read to a certain extent, as much as Krishna allows them to read or reveals to these great acharyas his mood or his bhava. So Krishna reveals his mindset to these acharyas, and then they share it through their writings. So Sri Sanatan Goswami says that the reason, also another reason that they are mentioned in the last, is because they are the least important from a societal standpoint. They are kind of nobodies. They are just simple villagers. They don't matter in the large political scheme of things. All these others are big, big kings, and there is also it's very clear at this point, at some point in the future, there is going to be a war between the Kauravas and Pandavas. And there is nobody who can stay neutral. It's like a world war. One of the definitions of world war is nobody gets to stay neutral. You have to pick a side. And so all these, these people don't matter. They are like, staying in some unknown village. And the least important, of all. So there is this big sort of a you will see this sort of balance going up and down a couple of times in this chapter, where you will see this aspect of societal importance and bhakti, or the true real love for Krishna. And that sees no, you don't have to be the most important person in society to say that to be a great devotee. The most unknown person can be the greatest devotee of Bhagavan. So that is one aspect that we will see constantly being brought out in this discussion. So, and also, so that's the point. That's the reason which Sri Sanatana Goswami gives, that they are mentioned in the end, because they are the least important. They were also there, by the way, they were also there, kind of thing. At the same time, the bhava of Sukadeva Goswami is also mentioned here when he begins to say Om Ripa. Okay, let me see what else is there in my notes here. Yeah. Now, okay, so I think I covered everything. So next, okay, let's have somebody read the translation. So we'll start with those who have whom I can see. So one of you can read the translation. Kalptaru Mataji, maybe you can read because you weren't there yesterday.
Yeah, Prabhu, I can read it. Krishna. So the full one, right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
The Yadavas saw that many of the kings who had arrived were old friends and relatives. The Matsyas, Usinaras, Kaushalyas, Vidarbhas, Kurus, Shinjayas, Kambhojas, Kaikayas, Madras, Kuntis, and the kings of Anarta and Kerala. They also saw many hundreds of other kings, both allies and adversaries. In addition, my dear King Parikshit, they saw their dear friends Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men and women who had been suffering in anxiety for so long.
Very nice. So even though it says here, they saw, they means the Yadus, but mainly we need to see as Krishna saw. And Krishna's dear friends, and of course it's much more than dear friends. One more point I wanted to mention: allies and adversaries. So here, just a small point, it's not a very big point. Here we saw here Atma paksha and para. So the point is, when one goes to a pilgrimage, so this is like a tirth yatra, going to Kurukshetra. From various places the people have come, and the Pandavas and Kauravas are the biggest favorable and unfavorable parties here mentioned, and they are coming from Hastinapur and Indraprastha respectively. The Kauravas from Hastinapur and Pandavas from Indraprastha. So when you go to a pilgrimage or tirth yatra, you all become friends, even though there may be some differences. On a pilgrimage, we all, they all behave cordially and with friendship. So that's one thing to be noted. All right. Now, change of meter. Okay. And this meter is Indra Vajra. And it has 11 syllables on each line. So 11 syllables verse. One of the famous verses that at least I remember of this meter is the 10.14.8. Very famous verse, very important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tattenukampam susamikshamaano tatte nukampam susamikshamaano bhunjan evatma kritam vipakam hridvagvapubhir vidadham namaste jivet-yo muktipade sadaya bhak. So that's the meter. Sort of, I can't sing it very properly, but so same meter. Anyonya sandarshana harsharam hasa protfulla hridvaktra sahoruha shriya ashlishya gadham nayanena swajrajjala hrishyatvachoruddha giroyayurmudam. So that is the meter. So again, change of meter is in this case indicating change of mood or change of bhava. So that is, let's see what is that change of bhava. So what is happening here? What is happening here is that, please pay attention, okay? And this is not from the verse, but I had heard this in a particular class. So, take this as a understanding of senior devotees without any name, okay? And it's not in any of the tikas either that I had mentioned, the prominent tikas, but it is a very sweet way of thinking about this change of mood. So please pay attention to understand this. The Yadus are meeting these various parties and they are feeling very happy about it. So why don't we first read the translation here? Let us see. So Makarand Prabhu, can you please read this translation?
Yeah. As the great joy of seeing one another made the lotuses of their hearts and faces bloom with fresh beauty, the men embraced one another enthusiastically. With tears pouring from their eyes, the hair on their bodies standing on end, and their voices choked up, they all felt intense bliss.
Yes. So this is basically being mentioned that when the Yadus met all these various parties, the Kurus, the Pandavas, and so many other parties that were mentioned in the previous verse. And this is being described, this mood is being described of a lot of made their hearts and faces bloom with fresh beauty. They were very enthusiastic. Tears were pouring from their eyes. They were getting goosebumps, hair standing on end on their skin, voices choked up, and intense bliss. All these moods are being described. But the understanding is that, or the way to look at it, one of the way to look at it is this is the mood of Sri Krishna and the Vraja Vaasis when they saw each other. Now, Sukadeva Goswami cannot, if he goes into describing that this is the mood of Sri Krishna and the Vraja Vaasis, he will not be able to explain it further. He will just go into a trance. Okay, so he is just describing the mood, but overlaying it on top of other characters so that he can continue with sanity to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Are you following? So while all these things are being described in the next few verses, one way is to keep in mind that this is the description of the emotions between Sri Krishna and the Vraja Vaasis, or Sri Krishna and some of the very confidential or some of the very close associates like Mother Devaki, Vasudeva ji, Balarāma ji, Mother Rohini. They were all part of the contingency who had come from Dwarka and the Vraja Vaasis. So there are both men and women here, and there are obviously men and women in the Vraja Vaasi side, and that is the emotion, that is the feeling that's being described between specifically these two parties. So please see with that mood and you will relish it more, that wow, that's the love that is flowing after, and you must also understand why this 82nd chapter is important. We had discussed this yesterday. This meeting is occurring after a very long time. Shilpa Mataji had asked yesterday about how much later this is occurring. So I had shown that one PDF by Hari Parshad Prabhu, and Acharyas differ on it. He himself writes it, but it is occurring after decades. After at least, one can say safely anywhere between 30 to 50 years of separation. Exact timeline is not known, but even 30 years of separation is a lot of separation. So, so much pent up emotion is there. The love of each other has not diminished even one bit. It's not like, out of sight, out of mind. Oh, 30 years old friend, if you meet today, you might not feel that closeness. You'll think, how are you? And, did you get married? Do you have children? How old are they? You might discuss those kind of things if I meet somebody from my school time or my college time today. And that's it, But the love has not reduced even one bit. And the emotions are extremely, extremely strong. This is one place in the entire sort of one of the places in the whole of the 10th canto where the emotions are very, very strong because of the amount of pent up separation. The emotions are pent up for such a long time, and now they are getting sort of expressed. So if we see it from those eyes, we will relish this portion more. Okay. So let's see. Anyo-anya san darshanam. So on seeing each other, harsha ramhasa. So the joy, and ramhasa means the intense, like immediate spike. Like when you see somebody, like you've been waiting to see for a long time, and then moment you see, it's like the floodgates open. So harsha ramhasa, the floodgates opened of their harsha, of their emotion, of their joy. Protfulla hridvaktra saroruha shriya, their hearts and and their faces became completely like lit up, like a huge light bulb was turned on. And ashlishya garham nayanai sravaj jala. So through their eyes, tears were flowing, and ashlishya garham means they were hugging each other. So garham with so much, they were strongly or tightly hugging each other. And hrishyat tvacho, so their on the skin, they were getting these goosebumps. And ruddha giro, gira means voice, or like there's that verse, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta. So on whose tongue there is Krishna, we honor them mentally from Nectar of Instruction. So girita means on the tongue. So ruddha giro, that their voice was choked. So they're, all the, and yayur mudam, and they were just completely in this bhava of ecstasy on seeing each other. So that's the meaning of this verse, and this bhava is being expressed, and that's why there's a huge change of mood. Earlier, it was pretty much just a straightforward description of what was going on. The Yadus took bath and, did fasting and offered charity to the Brahmanas, took rest. All this was discussed yesterday. So it was just a description of events. Now, there's a huge change of mood and therefore change of meter. Okay. So here again, this mood of the meeting, or this verse is very clearly describing some of the symptoms of prema. We can say prema or bhava. These are some of the external symptoms. In Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, we have discussed some of these external symptoms. There are external symptoms and internal symptoms. So this is a very nice description of the symptoms of prema and bhava here. Yeah. Now, one thing also I was mentioning yesterday, let's see. Are painting opportunities. So I mentioned this yesterday in the class that I was searching quite a bit online. I couldn't find any paintings from the 82nd chapter of Bhagavatam. And I would imagine I'm by no means a painter or an artist in that sense, but it's probably hard to depict these things, but it would be a wonderful meditation. Like for a singer, one could meditate on singing the glories of the Lord. For various, so one who has a talent of painting could use their talent to meditate on Sri Krishna through their painting, and could use these verses to come up with a painting which depicts everything that is mentioned in these verses. So how would Krishna and the Vraja Vaasis, how would it be shown in a painting so that this mood, the painting conveys the mood? I don't know, but maybe that's one thing that that could be done. So something to think about. And not just painting, even for the poets or for whoever, write a little verse or, your composition on further, expanding on this mood. The purpose is to meditate or to go deep into this Leela, this whole thing. That is what is Leela Smaran. Various ways how you can churn this Leela. So somehow or the other, do it. All right, next verse. Okay. Priyascha samvikshya mithoti sauhrida smitamalampanga drisho bhire stanai kunkuma panka rushitan nihatya dorbhihi pranayashu lochana. So the women, so again, as I said, there are women in both parties, and we will see a specific conversation between two women later on, between Mother Devaki and Yashoda. Very intense conversation. It will occur later on, and probably we might not get to it today, but we will see that. So the women also were very, very happy to see each other. And they were filled with extreme affection. Here it is written, Ati Sauhrida. So Ati, the Suhrida is Ati, extreme affection for each other. And Smita Amala Apanga Drishaha Abhire Bhire. So they were, they had like huge smile on their faces, and they were, looking at each other very affectionately while embracing each other. Stanai stanan kunkuma panka rushitan. And among the women, when they were embracing each other, it is written here that their breasts were very, tightly pressed against each other. So it's shown like, the point is that you're very tightly embracing each other. Otherwise, if you're, think about it, if you're formal, then you will just, just lightly embrace, and you may not even, the rest of the body may not even touch. But they were so tightly embraced that's the mood that is being conveyed, that there was no formality here, very informal, very, very informal, just like two sisters would hug each other and, with open arms. Nihatya dorbhi pranayashru lochanaha. And so pranayashu lochanaha. So pranaya ashru, and lochana means eyes. So in their eyes, there were ashru, there were tears of pranaya. Pranaya is a very thickened or a very deep form of love. So very intense love, tears of love were flowing out from their eyes. Okay. So can somebody read this translation, please?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Mataji, please. Yes. You are muted.
The women glanced at one another with pure smiles of loving friendship. And when they embraced, their breasts, smeared with saffron paste, pressed against one another as their eyes filled with tears of affection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Number 16. So now the thing is just a small twist or a small change. This whole episode or this verse that we are discussing is happening mentally. Okay, think about it like that, because later on there will be a verse where Nanda Maharaj actually goes and meets Krishna. It is written there. So he goes, Nanda Maharaj and his whole party, because Nanda Maharaj is the leader of the Vraja Vaasis. He's the cowherd leader. So he and his party goes and meets Sri Krishna. So that is when the actual meeting happens. So here it's like, in the mind, when they see each other. So it was clearly said that the two parties saw each other. And in the mind, this intense emotion is rising. So they have not yet met Krishna. Now we will see something else they do, and that will come in the 4th line of this verse. So what is this verse? So now we are back to Anushtup, which is 8 syllables per line. So the change of bhava has occurred in the 2 verses. Now we will go back to Anushtup. Tatobhivadyate vriddhan yavishthair abhivaditah swagatam kushalam prishtva chakruh Krishna kathamitha. So tato bhivadya te vriddhan. So what did they do? So upon this meeting, vriddha means the older people. Abhivadan, tato bhivadya, abhivadan, those who know Hindi, abhivadan means greetings. So they offered their greetings, etc. to the older people, and yavishthair abhivaditah. So, and they accepted the greetings from the younger ones. So greetings or obeisances, whatever, So this whole exchange is happening between the two parties. And then swagatam kushalam prishtva. They welcomed each other, swagatam. And kushalam prishtva, that are you okay? How are you? Kushal means they're asking about the well-being. And prishtva means to ask. So they were asking about the well-being of each other and all that. So basically these are some initial formalities, or you can say initial, greet and meet kind of thing. Initial greet and meet occurred. The most important thing when they engaged is in the 4th line. That Chakruh Krishna kathamitha. This is the main purpose that they engaged in. So Krishna Katha, mitha means among one another. So after initial greet and meet, they started discussing Krishna Katha. So what has happened is they have not yet met Krishna, but even before that, just by meeting the people, the devotees, or who have come from Dwarka, you cannot stop, okay, where is Krishna? How is Krishna? What was happening? Because the Dwarka Vaasis have been with Krishna for a long time now, and Vraja Vaasis have been separated. So they are trying to not waste any moment trying to find out all about Krishna, what has been happening all these years. So that is the Krishna Katha. So the Vraja Vaasis, again, I am speaking from strict or from the standpoint that this, whatever these verses are now describing, even though this is between many of the Yadus and all the other parties, but mainly between Yadus and Vraja Vaasis. The other parties are kind of in this our discussion little bit in the background. The party that is most interested in Krishna Katha is the Vraja Vaasis. Of course, there are the Pandavas as well, but they used to go and meet each other, and they were both, had all the resources and everything to go see each other. So there was not, there was a lot of desire even in the favorable parties to the Yadus, but the maximum was in the Vraja Vaasis, and they were engaged in Krishna Katha. So that is, so the main purpose, this shows the main purpose of Vraja Vaasis to come to Kurukshetra, which is to see and see Krishna and hear about Krishna. That is the purpose why the Vraja Vaasis came, not for any eradication of sin or to protect from this inauspicious eclipse, not for any of that nonsense. They were there only for Sri Krishna Katha, and that is mentioned in the 4th line. Okay, who could read the translation? I think anybody would like to read? Yes, Shamlila Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. They all then offered obeisances to their elders and received respect in turn from their younger relatives. After inquiring from one another about the comfort of their trip and their well-being, they proceeded to talk about Krishna.
Very nice. Okay. Now, again, as I said, think about it in the way that Sukadeva Goswami is using different characters. He cannot talk about Vraja Vaasis. If Vraja Vaasis kind of come into his mind, he will, not be able to continue with much for much longer. So he begins to talk about Vraja Vaasis, but much later in the chapter, around the 32nd, 35th verse, and the chapter ends in another 10, 12 verses, the chapter ends. So he's trying very hard. Just think about it like that. It's not written anywhere, but just think about it that he's trying his best to not bring Vraja Vaasis into the conversation yet. But that is what he's trying to convey. So that is the sort of the bhava or the mood in which you can relish this portion. So here, now we take we see Mother Kunti. Kunti as in the mother of the Pandavas. So there is a conversation that occurs between Kunti and Vasudeva. Vasudevji. Vasudeva is the father of Sri Krishna. So let us see what this verse says. Pritha bhratrin svasar vikshya tat putran pitaravapi bhatri patnir mukundam cha jahau sankathaya shuchaha. So this means that, Mother Kunti, so Pritha is Kunti, met with Bhratrin and Swasra. So Bhratrin means brothers and sisters. And Vikshya means to meet or to see. So Mother Kunti met with her brothers and sisters, and we will see very soon later this brother becomes Vasudevji. So Vasudevji is related to Mother Kunti as a brother, and that is why Kunti is like a Bua of Sri Krishna. Yeah. So now another thing to the twist here is the following. So Vasudevji is the brother of Kunti. He is also a brother of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is also a cousin. Just like Kunti is a cousin of Vasudevji, Nanda Maharaj is also a cousin of Vasudevji. We can see them in a... What's going on with the base? Okay. Bhagavat Puran, 10th canto, 5. And yeah, so in the purport here, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned the relationship between Vasudevji and Nanda Maharaj. I would like somebody to read this purport. Could somebody please do that? Who has not?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Only purpose?
Yes. This is showing the relationship between Vasudevji and Nanda Maharaj.
Yeah. Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj were so intimately connected that they lived like brothers. Furthermore, it is learned from the notes of Sripad Madhvacharya that Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj were stepbrothers. Vasudeva's father, Shursen, married a Vaishya girl, and from her Nanda Maharaj was born. Later, Nanda Maharaj himself married a Vaishya girl, Yashoda. Therefore, his family is celebrated as Vaishya family. And Krishna, identifying himself as their son, took charge of Vaishya activities, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam. Balram represents plowing the land for agriculture and therefore always carries in his hand a plow. Whereas Krishna tends cows and therefore carries a flute in his hand. Thus, the two brothers represent Krishiraksha and Goraksha.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, okay, second part of the purport was more about that they are Vaishyas, but here we see that they were step brothers. Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva were step brothers from a couple of generations ahead, because one of their parent or grandparent had married, a Vaishya girl, and then, from whom Nanda Maharaj was born, and Vasudeva through a Kshatriya marriage. So that is the connection.
Prabhuji, sorry, could you please repeat the verse number again? 10.5.20.
Can see this?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
10.5.20 purport gives that relationship between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudevji. Also, it is there in Sri Krishna Sandarbha. This Srila Prabhupada, what I showed you, was writing based on some commentary by Madhvacharya. But in Krishna Sandarbha, Anuchhed number 115, it is also clearly mentioned that they were cousins. So that is another very strong reference directly from Sri Jiva Goswami, who wrote the Krishna Sandarbha. Or Srimad Bhagavatam 10.5.20. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So the point I'm trying to mention here is that just like Kunti considers Vasudevji or is a cousin of Vasudevji. Similarly, Nanda Maharaj is also a cousin of Vasudevji. And in this discussion, you can think of Nanda Maharaj instead of Kunti. That how this whole interaction is occurring between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudevji. Even though that is not mentioned directly, it is just an aspect of relishment to relish the bhava. So let's see what is being said. So Pritha Bhratrins Vasar Vikshya, we read that. Kunti is talking to her brother Vasudevji. So what she is saying is, or she's meeting with her brothers and so on, and Tat Putran, their children, Pitarav, parents, etc. Bhratrir, or Bhratri means the brothers and the Bhratri Patni, that's the full word. So the, her, what would you call, sister-in-laws, and Lord Mukunda. So, and Sri Krishna. And lastly, on conversing, Jahau Sankathaya Shuchaha, and engaged in Krishna Katha, inquiring about Sri Krishna, or Sankathaya, or in talking about Krishna with Vasudevji. Jahau Shuchaha. Jahau Shuchaha means her sorrow was removed. So when she started talking to Vasudevji, her sorrow was removed, and Kunti was having sorrow at that time because her sons were being mistreated by Dhritarashtra, and there were a lot of problems going on in Kunti's life. Now, if you replace with Nanda Maharaj, he's also full of sorrow, and that is because he has not seen Krishna for such a long time, for so many decades, and so he is also full of sorrow. But on talking to Vasudevji, or on seeing Krishna, or hearing Krishna Katha, all his sorrow was removed. So there is that understanding. So kindly somebody read the translation.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Queen Kunti met with her brothers and sisters and their children, and also with her parents, her brothers' wives, and Lord Mukunda. While talking with them, she forgot her sorrow.
Very nice. Thanks. Okay, we'll go to next verse. So, Kunti Uvacha. So, Mother Kunti is saying. Now, again, another way to look at it is you can think that Nanda Maharaj is conveying the same emotion to Vasudevji. So, the verse is, Arya Bhratrir Aham Manye Atmanam Akritashisham Yadva Apatsu Madvartam Nanusmaratha Sattama. So, he says, Arya Bhratrir Aham Manye, that, oh my brother. So, even Nanda Maharaj would call Vasudevji as his brother. Aham Manye, I think the following. What is it? Atmanam Akrita Shisham, that I consider myself, Atmanam, very unfortunate. And why? Yad va apastu madvartam, that when I was very undergoing a lot of suffering, na anusmritha sattama, all the saintly people even forgot me or forgot us. So he is conveying his suffering to Vasudevji, that we were suffering. So the mood here, again, there is, I will say there is the literal, and sort of there is this extended bhava. So the literal is that Mother Kunti is suffering, and she is just conveying her suffering, that she was suffering so much, or she's continuing to suffer. Now she's very happy because she has seen Krishna. But even the saintly people like the Yadus did not, come and check up on her suffering for a long time. Even though Krishna checked up on her many times, but she is just expressing that suffering. More so, Nanda Maharaj would be expressing a similar suffering. And nobody from Dwarka, of course, there is Uddhavji who was sent. Later on, Balarāma comes, but he comes after this episode. So Balarāma visits Vṛndāvana later, but all this while, nobody checked up on the Vraja Vaasis, and they were suffering in the fire of separation. So that is the mood that is being conveyed by Nanda Maharaj to Vasudeva ji. And Vasudeva, and another aspect is sort of just to relish this more. Vasudeva ji was in jail, if you remember, when Krishna was growing up. And so Nanda Maharaj is kind of, his mood is, what it is to suffer. It's not like you don't know. And you were separated from your son for so many years, and you were in jail and you were suffering. And when Krishna went, Nanda Maharaj did not stop him. He did not say, Krishna went to, Mathura and then never came back. So, the mood is that Vasudeva ji knows what it is to suffer. And now Nanda Maharaj has not met Krishna, and he also knows how much Nanda Maharaj loves Krishna. So, you could have, the mood is that you could have sent Krishna for some time to Vṛndāvana to meet us, but you forgot, or somehow you did not, or so we'll see how this unpacks. I don't want to say that, I don't want to put Vasudeva ji in sort of a negative light. That would not be correct. But this is just the bhava that is being expressed. Okay, just take it like that. There's no good guy, bad guy here, and I'm trying very hard not to go in that direction. There's no blame here. There's nothing. It's just the feeling of emotion that is being expressed. And I have a nice little story to tell in the next verse. Yeah. Yes, Makaran Prabhu. What are you saying?
Is it a kind of a sweet complaint, what we call ulahana?
Yes, ulahana is actually a very, very correct word. In one of the commentaries, that exact word is used. But I don't know how many Hindi people speak Hindi, and that too, to understand that technical sort of, or the, the meaning of that word. But yes, you are right. Okay. Okay. Sai Prabhu has posted a question saying, you use the term suffering. How do we appreciate that in the end we are meant also for a lot of suffering? We are meant also for a lot of suffering. Okay, I don't understand what that means, but the situation here is completely different. Here we are talking about transcendental suffering of separation from Sri Krishna. That is the suffering. And if one has that suffering of due to the separation from Sri Krishna, you are already a perfected being. If one is feeling that much pain due to separation from Krishna, that's the good kind of pain. That's the pain that will get us directly at the feet of Sri Krishna. I think the other suffering is the material suffering. So I don't know exactly what you're asking, but maybe, it's because maybe you joined late, or, the context is not fully clear. Okay. So this suffering is due to suffering from separation from Sri Krishna. So it's a spiritual or a devotional suffering. Okay. Okay, so who would like to read the translation here? Somebody just start reading without asking.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I'll read.
Yeah.
Queen Kunti said, "My dear respectable brother, I feel that my desires have been frustrated because although all of you are most saintly, you forgot me during my calamities."
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Then Mother Kunti makes a general statement, very nice statement. So let's see this. Suhrido gyatayah putra bhratrir pitaravapi nanu smaranti swajanam yasya daivam adikshanam. Very nice verse. So kind of straightforward. Suhrido gyatayah putra. So again the word suhrido is coming. So it's kind of a subtle connection to the previous Suhrida between Sri Krishna and the Vraja Vaasis. Okay. So what is being essentially said is that, so Suhrida, the loved ones, Gyatayaha means those who are the sambandhis or the relatives, those who know you from birth. That is Gyatayaha, means your relatives. Putraha, the sons. Bhratraha means brothers. Pitara means fathers. So like very close relatives, father, brother, son, very close relatives. And Suhrida, your very intimate, very close friends or very close, those who love you so much. Na anusmarati swajanam. That they, na anusmarati can be like they do not remember or they forget. They forget their swajanas who were their own in previously. Yasya daivam adakshinam. When destiny or due to when destiny becomes unfavorable. Daivam means destiny. Adakshinam means becomes unfavorable. Yasya is when. So the mood is Mother Kunti is conveying is that when things go wrong or when things don't, take a bad turn, even the loved ones forget you or forget one. So the mood again here is, if you apply this to the Vraja Vaasis, what was the biggest? It's not that that Vasudeva ji forgot the Vraja Vaasis. The mood here is who is the primary person who forgot? Who's the, if we are to, let's say, assign blame, who's the one person on whom we should assign the most blame for forgetting the Vraja Vaasis?
Krishna Bhagwan.
Krishna.
Krishna himself. So what she's saying is that when Krishna himself, or what Nanda Maharaj would be saying, or the mood here is that, the Vraja Vaasis are saying when Krishna himself, turned away from us, what to speak of anybody else? So you're not the sort of the one to, you're not responsible for our suffering when destiny itself, and destiny is under the control of Sri Krishna. So when Krishna himself has forgotten us, then what to speak about anybody else? So there's a very nice story that I remembered here from, I don't know exactly if it is in the Ramayana or somewhere else, but this is about Lord Ram. When they were building the bridge and all the monkeys, when Lord Ram had summoned the Devata of the Samudra Deva and asked him, he said, just ask everybody to write your name on the stones and throw the stones in the ocean and they will float. And that's how you can build a bridge. So very nice. So all the monkeys were doing Jai Shri Ram, and writing the name of Lord Ram and putting the stones. So Lord Ram was very amazed that, wow, that's very nice formula, and to make the stones float. So he said, let me try. Okay, so he also, wrote his name and said Jai Shri Ram and put a stone in the ocean. What happened? That stone didn't float, it drowned. So he was like very embarrassed. Arey, what happened? The monkeys are throwing, I am Ram. And now I am not only writing my name, but I am putting it also. And it drowned. So he felt very embarrassed. And, he looked around and he saw, first he thought nobody will see. Then he saw that Hanumanji is watching. So Hanumanji caught him, sort of. He got embarrassed. So he asked Hanumanji, what's going on? You are throwing all these thousands of stones. They are all floating. I threw one, it didn't even float. Then Hanumanji said, if you throw somebody away, what is the chance of his survival? He will definitely drown. So there is nobody who can survive if Lord Ram discards him. So this stone was so unfortunate that it was thrown by you, and so he had to drown. So that is the answer by Hanumanji. So again, the mood here is that when the Lord turns away from somebody, then there is no other recourse for that person. So again, the focus is not on the suffering of the devotee, like Vraja Vaasis, or on the stone drowning, but it is on the bhava that, and of course, that stone which was thrown or touched by Lord Ram is the most blessed. There is no doubt about it, but that bhava is being shown here, that it was thrown by Lord Ram. So that is the mood that is being shown here. And so Nanda Maharaj is also feeling disappointed that Lord Krishna got separated from us for such a long time, and everybody, we were suffering, and we are continuing to suffer. Okay, let's quickly read this translation and move forward. Could somebody do that, please?
Friends and family members, even children, brothers, and parents forget a dear one who providence no longer favors.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So now Vasudeva ji is trying to console Kunti. So what is Vasudeva ji saying? Shri Vasudeva Vacha Amba Masman Asut Yetha Deva Kridanakan Naran Ishasya hi Vashe Lokaha Kurute Karyate Thava. So again, a significant verse, and all these verses kind of nicely fit into the mood of this conversation between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, even though it is happening between Mother Kunti and Vasudeva. So what he's saying is, Vasudeva Uvacha, Amba ma asman asuyetha. That Amba means my sister. Kunti's name is Amba, or my sister. He's saying, please don't be angry, or please don't think or take me in a wrong way. Don't mistake my intention. And he's saying, Daiva Kridan Kan Naran. So that all the naras, all human beings, or all living entities are like puppets. Kridan Kan. Krida means play. Krida Kan means playthings or toys, or we can say puppets, in the hands of Daiva. So here also in the previous verse, Yasya Daivam Adakshinam, that who has been sort of unfavored by Daiva. And again, who is the controller of Daiva? Daiva means destiny, is Sri Krishna. So similarly, the mood here is Daiva Kridanakan Naran, that we are puppets in the hands of destiny, but ultimately in the hands of Krishna. So then the question comes, a very deep point is here, that why did Krishna make the Vraja Vaasis suffer in separation? Why is it? And this is a very deep point, and we will not be able to go or do any amount of justice to this. But the short answer, and maybe, by some senior devotees or sometime later, we can do a deeper discussion on this topic. Why Krishna caused the Vraja Vaasis to suffer so much by the separation? The answer is to heighten the union that follows. Now you can say that's like, too much, it's not, doesn't at my level, and for many people, it would not sound, you wanted to experience that heightened union. For that, you gave me so much suffering as a what you call precondition, or as a prerequisite. I don't want that prerequisite, one can say, I don't want to undergo that much suffering just for your, happiness of that heightened emotion of reunion that will occur. One can think like that. That's why it is very hard to understand, but that is the answer. Now, this is purely from the standpoint of Srimad Bhagavatam. Acharyas like Sri Jiva Goswami in various other scriptures, Sri Sanatana Goswami through Brihad Bhagavatamrit, Jiva Goswami through Gopal Champu, and so on, describe that Krishna never left Vṛndāvana. There was Krishna always present in Vṛndāvana, and a different Krishna went to Dwarka. There is that explanation. And there is one more explanation which I will share with you all at the end of this discussion. That's a surprise. So there's a very nice point I will share with you all towards the end. So anyway, the point is, for Krishna's happiness, he caused the separation between the Vraja Vaasis and himself. Ishasya hi vashe lokaha, that everybody is in the vash or in the control of the Supreme Lord. Kuru karyate yatha thava. And in that way, they are made to act in a certain way. So basically, the point is, we are all puppets in the hands of destiny. And he's saying that, it's not that I didn't care for you. It is destiny who took things in that direction. Okay, but there is a there is that feeling. Now, in the next several verses, or not in the next several verses, but a little bit later. So, yeah, we will see, and this is kind of being shown here. Vasudeva ji is saying this, and so he is in full awareness. Vasudeva ji is in full awareness of Sri Krishna's, or we can say Sri Krishna as God. So, Ishasya hi vashe lokaha. Isha means Ishvara, or the Supreme Lord, who is Sri Krishna. Everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. So he is having that Aishwarya mood. And this will become more prominent as we move forward through some of the next few verses. And we will see a very stark contrast between the Aishwarya and Madhurya aspect of the devotees. One is looking at Sri Krishna as the Supreme Lord. One is looking at Sri Krishna as their sweet lover or son or friend, or so and so on. So that whole thing is going to come. So here we can already see Vasudeva ji kind of expressing the Aishwarya aspect of Sri Krishna. Okay, so with that, let's read this translation. Somebody, please.
Sri Vasudeva said, "Dear sister, please do not be angry with us. We are only ordinary men, playthings of fate. Indeed, whether a person acts on his own or is forced by others, he is always under the Supreme Lord's control."
Very good. Thank you. Then, he gives some more answer, some more explanation. So he says, Kamsa prata pita sarve vayam yatha disham disham etaryeva punah sthanam daivena asadita swasaha. So what he's saying is that Kamsa pratapita sarve. Pratapita means we were tortured or we were tormented very severely by Kamsa. Sarve means all of us, all the. So Vasudeva ji is continuing to say that we were all very, oppressed by Kamsa. Vayam yata disham disham. And so Vayam means we, yata means we went away. In various directions, we were very troubled by Kamsa. That's basically what he's saying. And etarhya eva punaha sthanam. And he's saying just recently, we have now settled down into Dwarka. So not just Kamsa. Kamsa was killed long back. But here also what happened is Kamsa had a father-in-law. Who is that?
Jarasandha.
Jarasandha, yes. And for 17 or 18 years, there was this constant fight happening between Krishna and Jarasandha for a different reason. There were so many demons and demoniac kings at that time, and Krishna had a plan to eliminate all of them, and that's why he was kind of on this long project of eliminating all these demoniac kings. So that was those 18 battles with Jarasandha. So all this was happening, and these Mathura Vaasis, Vasudeva ji, etc., were all very troubled with that. And when all that was done, then he took all of them to Dwarka. So he's saying that just now only we have settled in Dwarka some time back. And again, it's like few or some days back or some time back. And now we have come together by our destiny. So Daivena asaditah swasaha. So that is the meaning. So he's trying to explain that, it's not like only you were suffering out of separation from Sri Krishna. We were also separated from Sri Krishna because he was going and fighting all these, he and Balarāma ji and all were going and fighting with Jarasandha for so many years. And so much trouble was happening. So it's not like we were very happy and having a lot of association and lot of fun with Sri Krishna. Even we were suffering. So that is what is being said. Yes, please read the translation.
You can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So Raj by Kamsa, we all fled in various directions, but by the grace of Providence, we have now finally been able to return to our homes, my dear sister.
Very nice. So again, Vasudeva ji is saying this to Mother Kunti. Okay. Now things are beginning to turn. All right. So now things will a little bit beginning to turn. Sri Shuka Uvacha. So Sukadeva Goswami says the following. So again, please pay attention and try to understand the bhava of this whole thing, which is not present directly in the verse. This is coming from Acharya commentaries and devotees and so on. So very nice relishment is here. So please hear carefully. So Sri Shuka Uvacha Vasudeva Ugrasena Adyair Yadubhister Chita Nripaha Asan Achyuta Sandarsha Paramananda Nirvrita. So, Sri Sukadeva says, like this, the conversation was happening, and then, change of gears or change of scene is happening. Vasudeva, Ugrasena, Adi. So these are the two senior members of the Yadus, of the Dwarka Vaasis, Vasudevji and Ugrasena. Adi means etc. So all of them, but mainly these two. Yadubhis te archita nripah, and the other Yadus. So all the other Yadus, the senior Yadus, te archita nripaha. Archita means Archana, we say Archana. Archana means worship, right? Deity worship, we say as Archana. So Archita means they honored the other kings. So now the change of scene has occurred, and we go to see that these Yadus are greeting, meeting all the other people who have arrived. All right, so please pay attention here. Okay. Asan Achyuta Samdarsha. So directly Achyuta is mentioned here. So who is Achyuta?
Sri Krishna.
Sri Krishna. Okay. And Sandarsha. Sandarsha. Darsha means to see, and Sandarsha means to see with a lot of in a favorable way or very nicely to see. Asan means they became. So all these people, they became what? Paramananda Nirvritah. They became very happy, satisfied. Paramananda, supreme happiness, bliss they felt in their heart. So whoever sees Krishna feels happiness in their heart. So they felt very happy, satisfied on seeing Krishna. Are you following?
Yes, but
So I'm thinking whether to say this now or let's see. Yeah, I will withhold my comment. 1 second. Let me see one thing. Yeah. So the point, okay, anyway, I'll say it. So everybody is becoming happy on seeing Sri Krishna. What does it mean? It means that Sri Krishna is giving happiness to everybody, right? Wherever Sri Krishna is going, people are becoming happy. People are becoming happy. People are becoming happy. It's like, think about it like a rich man. Wherever he goes, he distributes wealth. And everybody is becoming happy or rich because he's going everywhere and he's distributing happiness to everyone. So the mood here is that everybody is getting happiness from Sri Krishna. The question is anybody thinking, what about Krishna's happiness? That is the question. How many people, they're all thinking, if I see Krishna, I will be happy. If I see Krishna, I will be happy. If I see Krishna, they all want to see Krishna in various ways for their happiness. The next level, deeper question is anybody thinking, forget about my happiness? What about the happiness of Sri Krishna? What can I do? Or let me try to think, what will make Krishna happy? Is he somebody who is desiring happiness? Or is he some kind of impersonal, entity who cannot even feel happiness? If one thinks that Krishna is something or somebody or even something or impersonal, then there is no question of love for that thing. But if you think that Krishna is a person, and more so a person who is yearning, who needs love, who is also just like us, he is also looking for happiness for himself, then what can we do? What does he want? And what role can we possibly play in his happiness? Nobody is thinking like that. Nobody in this whole scene. And we will see a long list coming up next. So, except for one party. And that one party is the Vraja Vaasis. And they are not thinking about their own happiness. The only thing they are thinking about is how Krishna will be happy. So that is the difference between, and they are both surrendered. Don't mistake that they are this party who is deriving happiness on seeing Krishna is in some way selfish. They are fully surrendered to Sri Krishna. But they are not looking for material happiness at all. They have given up all material happiness. They are looking for this spiritual bliss, Paramananda, Nirvrita. So, Nirvrita means completely like, all the suffering that they were having is removed. So there was suffering before, now it is gone. Very happy. And also this is spiritual happiness, no material happiness. So there is spiritual happiness, desire for spiritual happiness is there. But still what is missing is what will make Krishna happy. That understanding is there from the material standpoint. Please listen to this. When we are thinking materially, we care for our happiness, material happiness. Once that desire for material happiness is gone and we know who is God, we look still for that spiritual bliss. But we were so interested in and we begin to glorify Krishna. And we will see in the next verse, there's a lot of glorification. This big Maharaj Krishna from Dwarka has come. There's a lot of glorification of Sri Krishna in that Aishwarya Bhava. You are the great Krishna. You are the maintainer of the world. You are this, you are that, you are that. That's all very nice. But that past material conditioning is causing, if somebody glorified me, I feel happy. So you are trying to make Krishna happy. You may think even, what will make Krishna happy? What made me happy was if somebody glorified me. Let me glorify Krishna. Maybe Krishna will be happy to hear his own glorification. The question becomes, is Krishna interested, or does he become happy by his own, hearing his own glory? No. We today become very happy on hearing our own glory, but that is not Krishna's understanding. So the point, maybe I'm not conveying it very properly, but the point is that these people who are in this Aishwarya Gyan, they are also pure devotees. It's not that they are not pure devotees. They are very, very pure devotees. They have no material tinge, and they are really trying to surrender fully to Krishna. But there is a difference between that and the sweetness in which one interacts with Krishna, where there is no Aishwarya Gyan, and that is present only in the Vraja Vaasis. So that is the contrast that is being drawn. So with that, let us go to the next verse. Okay, let's read this translation and we'll go to the next verse and then we'll stop. It's almost 7 o'clock. Shyamlila Mataji, go ahead and read this, please.
Sukadeva Goswami said, Vasudeva, Ugrasen, and other Yadus honored the various kings who became supremely blissful and content upon seeing Lord Achyuta.
So Lord Achyuta is providing bliss to all the kings. The question, the unasked, that question is not being asked here directly, but the question to think about, or the question that should be prompted in one's mind is, Who is giving bliss to Krishna? Is somebody even thinking about that? So next is a very long verse, but it's a long list of names of kings and various people who are there. So it also gives a sense of who all is there. So let's see. Bhishmo Drono Ambika Putro Gandhari Sa Suta Tatha Sa Daraha Pandavaha Kunti Sanjayo Vidurah Kripa Kunti Bhojo Viratascha Bhishmako Nagnajin Mahan Purujid Drupadah Shalyo Drishtaketu Sa Kashirat Damaghosho Vishalaksho Maithilo Mridakaikayo Yudhamanyu Susharma Cha Sa Suta Bahlikadayaha Rajano Ye Cha Rajendra Yudhishtiram Anuvratah Shri Niketam Vapuh Shaurei Sa Satrikam Sa Strikam Vikshya Vismita. So here we have 4 verses, all are 4 lines each. So this is 23, 24, 25, and 26. So a whole bunch of devotees are being identified in these verses, starting with Bhishma. So these are all the kings that have arrived, and the most powerful party that has arrived are the Kurus. And among the Kurus, there is one person who is the most powerful and the most prominent, that is Bhishma. And he is very favorable to Sri Krishna. He is a Mahajan, so he is a pure devotee of Sri Krishna. Not in Madhurya, but in Aishwarya. But still he is a pure devotee of Sri Krishna. Then Drona. And then the things go downhill from devotee to, in some way, accepting the greatness of Krishna. Like, don't take panga with him. Otherwise, you will be in a loss. That is why Dhritarashtra and or his son Duryodhan goes to Sri Krishna and tries to say, come into my party. But when Krishna offers him, okay, me or my huge army, Duryodhan ends up choosing the army. But still they are trying to go, make friends with Krishna. So all that. So these two are very favorable to Sri Krishna. Among them, Bhishma is a pure devotee. Then things go downhill, which is Ambika Putra. Ambika Putra is Dhritarashtra. He was the son of Ambika. There were those 2 sisters, Ambika and Ambalika. Ambalika's son was Pandu. So Ambika Putra. Then Gandhari is the wife of Dhritarashtra. Sa Suta. So Sa Suta means along with the sons, which means all the 100 Kauravas. So even the Kauravas are here. So please understand this. This is definitely before Mahabharata. Otherwise, the Kauravas would all be dead. Bhishma would be dead. Drona would be dead, and so on. Sa Daraha, and Dara means wife. So their wives, all the 100 sons and their wives. And Pandava are also here. So the 5 Pandavas are there, and Kunti. So you can see here, even though they were not so friendly with each other, they have all come here and they are, associating with each other in a cordial way. So you can see here there is, some friction. Pandavas and Kauravas were never like very, very good brothers. Like I was saying yesterday, Duryodhan tried to kill Bhima when he was a very, very small boy, very young, because from the very childhood, Duryodhan had this competitive mentality against Bhima, and Bhima was the one who was always better than Duryodhan, and Duryodhan could never tolerate that. So this competitive mentality was always there in his mind. And then who else is there? Sanjaya, Vidura, and Kripa. Vidur also is a perfect devotee of Sri Krishna. So all of them are mentioned here. Then others, Kunti Bhoja, all these characters you will find in Mahabharata, or if you know, Virat, Bhishmaka, Nagnajin. Nagnajin is called Mahan. Sri Jiva Goswami mentions in his commentary. He is also a devotee, and out of his devotion, he married his daughter to Sri Krishna. So he is one of the fathers-in-law of Sri Krishna. Anyway, Purajit, Drupad, the father of Draupadi, Shalya, Drishtiketu, Kashirat, Damaghosha, Vishalaksha, Maithilo, the kings of Madra, Kaikeya, Yudhamanyu, Susharma, along with their sons, Sasuta. So all these people, so many parties are mentioned. They all came. Bahlika and Adaya means etc. So not just this, but many, many more. Now the point is, Rajano Yecha Rajendra. Sorry. So Sukadeva Goswami is saying all these kings, Rajendra he is referring to as Parikshit, the among the kings, he is the emperor. Yudhishtiram Anuvrataha, that all these kings were followers of Yudhishthir. So the kings these kings whom we saw, Yudhishthir had won over them through the Rajasuya Yagya process. So they had become followers of, they had accepted the supremacy of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So that is the meaning of that. Then Shri Niketam Vapuh Shaurair. So what it means is that Shaureh is Sri Krishna, and Shri Niketam Vapuh Krishna. So and Sa Strikam Viksha Vismitaha. So all these people, and Shaura with Sa Strikam, so Krishna and his wives. So on seeing Sri Krishna and his wife, Viksha Vismataha. So they became very dazzled or became very amazed on seeing Sri Krishna and all his wives. So all these people basically became either very pleased, happy, or at least amazed. They may not become happy on seeing Sri Krishna because there are some unfavorable people here as well. But at least they were amazed on seeing Sri Krishna. Because see, Sri Krishna is just so great. So the demons also see the greatness, the brightness of Sri Krishna. They may not become happy, but they see the greatness of Sri Krishna. And then there are some devotees who are fully pleased and happy on seeing Sri Krishna. Now, here, who is missing in this list? It's not important much as to who is in the list. The question is, who is not in the list?
Vrajavasis.
Vrajavasis. Because they become happy on seeing Krishna, no doubt about it. But that is not their prominent feeling. Even though they are becoming happy, they are thinking, is Krishna becoming happy? Their happiness is subservient to the thought or the desire for making Krishna happy. That is the key difference. So that is the main point we want to focus on. And we will stop here. And now, a massive, 1 second. Yeah, after 2 or 3 verses, yeah, actually right now itself, from the next verse itself, a very big change of mood happens, and that will take time to cover. So we'll stop here. and we will continue next time. I don't know when next time will happen. Next week, we have the visit of wonderful devotee here in Portland, Harivamsh Prabhu. So we will not have any Friday or Saturday class. And the following Friday, we are starting Bhagavad Gita as part of Bhakti Shastri, plus a new batch for newcomers as well. But we will cover it with enough depth at Bhakti Shastri level or even deeper than that. So if now again, if any of you have friends that want to do Bhakti Shastri, it's not for the faint-hearted. I say that again and again. It requires work. But if anybody thinks they will benefit, they have interest in reading Shastra, going deeper into it, getting that understanding, that opportunity is available for the interested people to join Bhakti Shastri. We'll start with Bhagavad Gita next to next Friday. So today is 27th July. So what date is next to next Friday?
August 9.
August 9th, we will start with Bhagavad Gita. So maybe August 10th, we will do. So we will do Srimad Bhagavatam on Saturdays and Bhagavad Gita on Fridays. So every Saturday, we will do Bhagavatams. So 10th August could be the next, maybe the next Bhagavatam discussion here. Okay. Next week, no classes because of Harivamsh Prabhu's visit. So we'll stop here. A big change of bhav will occur after this, and we will go into that. The change of bhav will be on the lines of this deep feeling of Aishwarya from these kings and from the Yadus for Sri Krishna, and then a big contrast with the Vraja Vaasis. So that, and then a very deep, very intense discussion between Mother Devaki and Mother Yashoda. And that is sort of the, I would say, a very big pillar of this whole chapter. And then, of course, the biggest pillar of this whole chapter is the meeting of Lord Sri Krishna with the gopis. That is the last 8 or 9 verses. So that will be the biggest point of this whole chapter, is Sri Krishna meeting the gopis. Before that, it will be Sri Krishna meeting with the rest of the Vraja Vaasis, and then a conversation between Mother Yashoda and Mother Devaki. So these points are coming up, very deep aspects of this chapter. Okay, any comments, questions, anything anybody wants to share, reflections, whatever we can share. Okay, Sai Prabhu is saying, is it peculiar Dwarka Krishna is meeting Vraja Vaasis, although they are attached to Nanda Nandana? Although they are attached, I didn't understand the question. Dwarka Krishna is meeting Vraja Vaasis, okay, although they are attached to Nanda Nandana. Well, that's the Krishna. I mean, Krishna is the same person. The Dwarka Krishna or Nanda Nandana is in the eyes of the devotee. Krishna is the same. So the mood and the feelings of Krishna don't change depending on whether he's in Dwarka or whether he's in Vraja. When we say Dwarka Krishna, how the devotees of Dwarka perceive Krishna, that's the mood that is being conveyed. So Dwarka Krishna is the view or the perspective of the Dwarka Vaasis of Sri Krishna as the great God. Krishna is Krishna. He is the same Krishna, and for him, Vraja Vaasis are his topmost devotee. So there is no doubt about that, ever, whether he is in Dwarka or Mathura or Vṛndāvana or wherever. Krishna is not confused about that, ever. So I hope I understood your question, and I hope I answered it. Yes, Shamlila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So just a question here, Prabhuji. I think in one of Hari Parshad Prabhu's class, he was talking about how like Dwarkadish ji, Sri Krishna would like sob or cry when he would miss the Vraja Vaasis. So why did nobody other than Uddhav ji try to see, okay, they genuinely care about Sri Krishna and they also love him, but why did they not try to see, why is this person we love, why is he crying, what can we do? Like, why was never that uh, that emotion in them? Because they genuinely love Sri Krishna. So then, like,
I can only give a partial answer. Very, very good question. Something to be asked to someone of Hari Parshad Prabhu's stature, scholarship, knowledge, etc. So, first of all, they may not know that. They know Krishna as Bhagwan and trying to even think that Bhagwan has a suffering, it doesn't go together, isn't it?
right.
So, how can God suffer? He's Hari. Hari means one who takes away our suffering. If he is himself suffering, how can we trust him to take away our suffering? Then he is like us, isn't it? Then we both need a new God. So they have no much idea that he is suffering, or they may see that he is externally suffering, but internally they will think, yeah, he is God, he can do whatever. So we don't need to do anything about it. So that is one point. And the second point, so first of all, they may not be aware, and Krishna is very expert in hiding it from them. Now, also I have heard Hari Parshad Prabhu mention that, like, for example, Mother Rukmini sometimes gets a sense that he is, taking the name of Srimati Radharani, and so she is aware to some extent, but maybe that she is aware that he doesn't want me to do anything about it yet. He's intensifying his emotion of separation at that point, and therefore it is in Krishna's best interest to not take action on it. So that aspect could also be there, but this is something, again, very nice question. More churning can be done by talking to very senior devotees like Hari Parshad Prabhu. I hope that gave you some sense, at least.
Yes, Prabhuji, just it sort of like bothers me that how they would, like, Maharaj Ugrasen's wife even offered, oh, we'll pay them back. So I feel like they somewhat knew but didn't know, or were being selfish, or like, I don't want to like demean them in any way, but it sort of just bothers me a little bit.
That and yes, you're right. Now, by the way, paying them back was not about their suffering. Okay.
Right, material.
That they are suffering, so paying back was more on a different angle, that we don't want to carry any debt, so we'll pay them back. And if they at all have, yes, there's this aspect, if they at all have any claim on Krishna, we will reclaim our full claim on Krishna by, like on property, you have lien, of the bank. As long as you have mortgage, you have a lien. So when you pay off the mortgage, the lien is gone. That means the bank loses the claim on your house once you pay off the debt. Till then, they have a claim on your house. If you don't pay back, they can come and possess your house, right?
Right.
So to kind of get free from that debt, so to say. But anyway, there are different moods. One of the other things is that this feeling of, what was the word you used? You were disappointed, or what did you say? Your feeling is what? Your bothered, you
I
said.
didn't want to demean them, but it just sort of like amazes me how someone would let that pass.
Yes, or bothers. I think that's the word you use. It bothers me, right?
Yeah.
that feeling of being amazed or that feeling of being bothered is the intent of this discussion. You're supposed to be bothered. It's not like you should do something about it to resolve it. But these are the different moods in which we can see various devotees' relationship with Sri Krishna. And all of this, that feeling bothered on hearing, looking for answers, is all in the category of Manaha Krishna Niveshayet. So instead of wondering about, all kind of nonsense, why this happened or why that happened, or, what's the history of that potential assassin of Donald Trump, and trying to do research on that idiot, trying to do chintan or investment of mind in Sri Krishna, and trying to contemplate why some devotees would think in this way and that way, that itself is the goal. I personally don't think that for some of these things there will ever be a resolution. There may be better and better answers, but there will always also be more questions. And that's the purpose. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Part of what, like Hari Parshad Prabhu says, the Bhakti Rasayanam, there are so many whys. Why did Krishna do this? Why did Krishna do that? Those were revealed by Sri Hari Suri in the 1800s. Those questions might have remained even before that. Some of the questions might have been there in the minds of acharyas previous to his time. And those specific answers came through this acharya called Hari Suri ji. So similarly, questions can remain. And, if we have a very strong desire for any specific answers, Krishna will reveal those answers. But it's more important that we think about these questions than to worry in a negative way about resolving them. I guess that's what I'm trying. That's what I at least try to relish.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? It's been a long session. Okay, if not, then we will adjourn and we will see you all in about 2 weeks, or in exactly 2 weeks, but we'll stay tuned on the announcements. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.